Good morning. How fantastic to see such a full house on a cool Friday morning in Ottawa. Welcome, everyone. My name is Su-Ling Ching, and it is my honor to be the President and CEO of the Ottawa Board of Trade. The Ottawa Board of Trade is the voice of business and key advocate for economic growth in our nation's capital. And it is for that reason that we are so pleased to have all of you here today for the All Candidates Meet and Greet. Isn't it great to be back in real life? Yes, yes. And all gathering here at our fabulous Shaw Centre in beautiful downtown Ottawa. Ottawa is built on unceded Algonquin Anishinaabe territory. The peoples of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation have lived on this territory for millennia. Their culture and presence have nurtured and continue to nurture this land. We honor the peoples and the land of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. We honor all First Nations, Inuit, Métis peoples, and their valuable past and present contributions to this land. I want to thank all of you for being here this morning and investing your time and energy in the growth of our business community and the building of our city. I hope that you enjoyed the networking and the coffee and the croissants and have made some connections and had some great conversations. I would like to especially welcome the leaders and the board members of the Ottawa Board of Trade who have joined us this morning. Please welcome our board chair, Ian Sherman of Relationship Capital, Priya Ballou from TAG HR, Robert Rayon from BDO, Carla Briones, who's a serial entrepreneur, Global Pet Foods, Freshie, and Carla Briones Consulting, Rick Chase from Canada Life, Bree Jameson Holloway from Jameson Law, Melissa Reeves from Linebox Studio, Nita Tandon from Dalcini Stainless, and Devinder Chaudhry from Iona Collective, Restaurant Collective. Thank you all for being here today. Volunteers are at the core of everything that we do, and I know many of you in the room are either current or past volunteers, and I want to say thank you very, very much. We couldn't do it without you. And as you know, the Ottawa Board of Trade is an independent, nonpartisan, not-for-profit, driven by our members. So I wish to express both appreciation and congratulations to all the members of the Board of Trade for ensuring that Ottawa has a strong voice of business, one that drives community prosperity and our future. Finally, I want to acknowledge all of the candidates who are here this morning for your commitment to our city and for your willingness to serve as a member of City Council. It is a courageous choice, and we are dedicated to working closely with all of you as community leaders to ensure Ottawa reaches its full potential as the best capital city in the world. This fall, we all have an important role and responsibility to fulfill as we contemplate who will lead our city for the next 4 years. The results of the municipal election will impact business and community success and set the direction for our collective future. This is why we have launched the Build Up Ottawa initiative, a pro-growth agenda that will create an affordable, inclusive, and sustainable city. The last 2 years of change and challenge has revealed many lessons that can be leveraged as we grow forward. Business success drives community prosperity, and vice versa. Health drives the economy, and vice versa. And we can accomplish much when we prioritize progress over perfection. We have an opportunity as individuals, as businesses, and as a community to grow, learn, and plan for a better future, one that requires the highest level of collaboration, innovation, and strategic investments. In this municipal election, we are seeking leaders who are committed to economic growth and who will create an environment that leverages the ingenuity and success of business to drive community prosperity. A thriving, world-class business community equals a strong and vibrant city for all. In the coming weeks, we have 3 intentions: to share our growth-focused agenda and look for alignment with all of our candidates, to engage our candidates and our voting public in a discussion about our key priorities, and to cultivate a spirit of collaboration and progress that we can build on moving forward. Together, we look forward to a city council filled with future-thinking visionaries who have a deep understanding of the citywide priorities that will make us competitive in a global economy and who are committed to radical collaboration, working with all of council, economic partners, and every level of government. In the last few months, we have been engaged with members, business and community leaders, and stakeholders to identify 5 priorities that would form the basis of our Build Up Ottawa agenda and drive the conversations with our candidates. They are to build for growth and support innovative infrastructure. From finishing the LRT to supporting more direct flights at our airport, to investing in high-impact world-class projects, smart planning for infrastructure supports, climate and inclusivity goals, while making the city more attractive to private sector investment, visitors, and talent. Build more homes, increase the accessibility and affordability of homes by streamlining approval processes, removing barriers, and incentivizing strategic city building to increase inventory and positively impact the market price of homes. Also, by advocating for adequate funding to build housing that addresses the growing demands for people and families who require social support. Third, to build business confidence. Commit to moderate and preset tax increases to help business address rising costs and inspire confidence, innovation, and predictability. Focus on efficiency, service excellence, and economic investments for long-term sustainable growth. Many local businesses are recovering and adjusting to our new economic realities. It is imperative that they know that our city is committed to fostering a competitive business environment. Their success is our success. Fourth, to build better health. Advocate for and support the new campus development at the Ottawa Hospital, a state-of-the-art healthcare facility to ensure our growing population is well-served and healthy while attracting business residents that are seeking amenities. Building a healthy, resilient city is an economic imperative, and time is of the essence. Build small business. Advocate for and support policies and programs that directly impact businesses in the hardest-hit sectors and diverse businesses, those owned by women, Indigenous, racialized entrepreneurs, people with disabilities, and those who are part of the LGBTQ2S+ community. Small businesses are disproportionately impacted by the pandemic. They are the heart of our culture and our economy. The entrepreneurial spirit must be protected. It is our hope that you can see the future of our capital city in these highlights and that candidates can count on all of us to get involved in creating our future. It is now my pleasure to introduce Rick Chase, OBOT board member and chair of our Advocacy Committee, for a few remarks and to welcome today's panel of business and community leaders. Thank you.
Good morning. Nobody's going to say good morning back. Good morning. Hey, all right. And this is supposed to be the energy person here this morning. So I just want to take a few moments, and what I'll do is, why don't I welcome the panel to come up and just start to make yourselves comfortable, and we'll do some intros once you're up here instead of playing musical chairs. How's that? And that way I'm not messing with the agenda too much because I'm sometimes long-winded. I wanted to take a moment and offer 3 really important but brief moments of gratitude. First, to all the candidates that are here in the room, mayoral and ward candidates, on behalf of the business community and the Board of Trade, thank you. Thank you for putting your names forward. You're the future leadership of this city, and honestly, this leadership is really, really important. Now more than ever, coming out of the pandemic, we're going to need, really, and Suling mentioned this, we're going to need collaboration, and what was the word that you used, Suling? I liked it, around collaboration. It was radical. Radical collaboration is going to be necessary for this city. There's going to be times where you're going to have priorities for your ward, and you're going to have to weigh those priorities against the global priorities of the city. And we're asking you as a business community to please do that. Please talk with your colleagues at council. We have the council and the mayor more than likely in this room here today. So we're also conscious as an organizing committee that We planned this at 7:30 so you can get to the doors today. We know how important that is as well. And so we're very appreciative that you've given up a bit of sleep to be here and hear from our panel. So why don't I have a round of applause for all the candidates in the room. Thank you for your efforts. The second piece of gratitude is to Sue Ling and the staff at the Ottawa Board of Trade. I'm a volunteer and passionate, but my passion is nowhere close to the passion that Sue Ling and her team have for not just the business community. Honestly, I mean, that's the mandate, right, for the Board of Trade, is to be the voice of business. They are the voice of business. But there's this sense of how business drives community and how community drives business. And I've honestly never been part of an organization that has that mindset going into everything that they do, and it's very inspiring. What a great move the Board of Trade did last March of 2020 in bringing Sue Ling on as CEO. What a great move. Lots of foresight there, and been tireless ever since. So it's not just about Sue Ling, but I wanted to take that moment because you don't get enough thanks, and from the business community, probably even on behalf of this panel, we wanted to say thank you for these tireless efforts through the pandemic on our behalf. So thank you. And last, would like to thank our Advocacy Committee. We put together a committee of business leaders and experts to really who are volunteers and to want to engage directly with all of you in the room, all the candidates in the room, and the business community to figure out what are the priorities here, what are the priorities here, and how do we come together. If we're asking for radical collaboration, we need to be walking that walk as well. So Ian Sherman, who's our board chair, but also lending his time to our advocacy committee. Michael Kakish, many of you in this room would recognize that name. I think Michael's here as well. Megan Cornell, who I'll get to in a moment, who's just off to the side. Ashley Brambles, thank you. Ashley was formerly just instrumental with public health over the 2 years of the pandemic, and now has gone to the private sector, and we're happy that she did because, well, we're not totally happy that she did, but we're a bit happy that she did because she can join our committee now. And Aaron Benjamin is not with us this morning, but is vice chair of this committee. This is a pretty power group of minds that come together to focus on collaboration, and I'm very happy to chair that group and do what we can to, as we said, collaborate with all of you and do it in a meaningful way. So we look forward to, this is just step one, moments like today, to the new council and to mayor. We look forward to working very closely with you. We'll be, regular meetings with all of you to bring the voice of the business community and then take your message back to the business community. So we look forward to that very much. Megan, I'm going to turn this over to you in just a moment, but I do want to just welcome our panel here. I'll start from, I guess, my left, your right, with Michael Crockett from Ottawa Tourism. Michael, good morning, and thank you for being here. And we're not going to do a full bio. These are some of the most accomplished people in our city, let's be honest, and they don't want me to read their bio anyways, but we did put the bios on the table. We'd need another hour if I went through all the bios. I'm honestly not kidding. Michael Crockett, Marc Larache from the Ottawa Airport Authority. Also, Cameron Love is here with us. Jump around a little bit. Cameron Love, the Ottawa Hospital. Kevin Ford from Callion, and last and most certainly not least, Michelle Taggart from Tamarack Homes and many things Taggart as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for our panel. And while you're clapping, a very important committee member. She was also on the campaign trail a few years back. We won't say how many, but at some point in time, and knows exactly what you're going through. A good friend. Sometimes we're adversaries, but sometimes and many times we share the same point of view. I'm very happy that Megan Cornell will be leading this moderation of this very experienced panel. So Megan Cornell, thank you so much for your efforts, and thank you for your service to the community as well. Ladies and gentlemen, over to Megan.
Thanks, Rick. We want to hear from these accomplished business leaders, so I won't launch into what would just be a repetition of what both Sue Ling and Rick have said, but thank you, all of you, for your time today. This is, the start of a really important dialogue that, whether you're elected or not, we hope you'll continue with the business community. And we put together a panel that this panel could have been 25 or 50 people, and we knew you didn't have the time for that as much as we wanted it. But we asked some of these great people to come today to tell you a bit about either their sector or projects that they're working on, to give you a sense of how the business community is very integrated. So you might be encountering one particular project or a particular issue in your ward, but really these are municipal-wide issues, and they all work together. And it's really important, I think, you'll hear from the panel today, to start understanding how those pieces work together. So that's what we're aiming for, and we'd love to continue the conversation after today. So, that being said, I'm going to ask Cameron to talk about one of the issues that really brings all of us in Ottawa together, which is healthcare, and what's going on at the Ottawa Hospital these days.
Thanks. Well, good morning, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be here in person on the unceded Algonquin territory. And like the others, I want to start by thanking Sue Ling and the Ottawa Board of Trade for hosting this really important discussion and bringing us together to talk about the future of Ottawa. And you know, it is an extremely exciting time to live in this city and think about all the tremendous opportunities that we have ahead of us. And you know, the last 2.5 years have shown us that clearly we need a robust and very resilient healthcare system, one that allows us to respond to and manage a huge range of access and service challenges that we have today, but also ensures that we build a world-class healthcare system for our community for the future. The pandemic has shown us just how important we are to each other. Through our organizations, and as importantly as community members, we have learned how much we need to work together to ensure our city and our region thrives together in the future. And by continuing to work together and to support priorities with Build Up Ottawa, we will ensure that our city is one of the best places to both live and work for the future. And that is why at the Ottawa Hospital, our vision is to build a state-of-the-art healthcare campus, which is so vital to both healthcare in this community, but also to the economy. Our new hospital is definitely going to transform healthcare for this community through the largest and probably the most important healthcare infrastructure project in the history of Ottawa. And it truly is a once-in-a-century opportunity for all of us. The new campus, as many of you know, will sit just down the street from the existing Civic Campus on Carling Avenue, bordered by Carling, Preston, and the Prince of Wales Streets. This 2.5 million square foot campus will replace the current one, which ironically will be 100 years old in 2024, which was built during the last pandemic. The population of Ottawa and its surrounding region is well beyond 1 million people, and it's growing quickly, but more importantly, it's aging. And this is a particularly important consideration for both the Ottawa Hospital and our entire healthcare system as we serve the entire community and region. People from every ward come to us for care, as well as from communities from Deep River to Cornwall and as far north as Nunavut. As a candidate for our City Council, please remember that while the hospital itself may not be in your ward, our staff, our patients, and their families are your neighbors, your family members, and friends from across every square kilometer of the Ottawa region. And the health of a population is probably one of the most important aspects to building a strong and vibrant city. The new campus we are building will ensure our city and our region can continue to provide the excellent care our loved ones would expect and definitely deserve. Now more than ever, we need modern health care to meet the needs today and definitely over the course of the next century. Fortunately, this new campus will be one of Canada's largest and leading adult acute hospitals, home to Canada's leading neuroscience and trauma centers. The emergency department will be built to accommodate the ever-growing needs of people that need emergency care, and we will be building state-of-the-art surgical suites, critical care environments, inpatient rooms, and outpatient environments that will promote healing and wellness among the diverse individuals, communities, and cultures we serve. Having said that, it will also be a centered focused on discovery and innovation that will deploy one of the most advanced data analytics platforms in Canada. This will deepen and strengthen our relationships with Ottawa's tech sector, offering new opportunities to work together and promote the growth of startups and expansion of private sector partners. Today, more than ever before, medicine is advancing at an incredible rate, with new treatments and technologies literally coming out each and every month. Our researchers are absolutely pushing the boundaries of healthcare, making discoveries and advancing medical research that will benefit us all for the future. Their groundbreaking work will change, and it is saving lives, and it boosts Ottawa's reputation as a global hub for medical discovery and innovation. We must and we will continue to attract bright minds from all over the world if we want to be successful. These minds are eager to innovate and to collaborate and live and work in Ottawa, helping our city to thrive. Economically, this city will be a huge, this new campus will be a huge economic driver. It will inject more than $2 billion into Ottawa's economy, contribute over $1.2 billion in labor income, create more than 4,000 full-time jobs, and generate a total economic output north of $3.75 billion. And that's just during construction. Post that, about 6,000 people will work at the new campus, and that is only the portion of the more than 17,000 people who work and practice medicine every day across our campuses. Thousands of staff members, patients, and visitors will visit our hospital every day and support the local economy, whether it's through shopping, eating, or enjoying local businesses. And finally, the opportunities for growth in private sector organizations, particularly those associated with the delivery of healthcare, innovation, and research, is endless and will continue to serve this community very well into the future. As the CEO of the Ottawa Hospital, and more importantly as a member of this community, I can't tell you how excited I am about the opportunity before us to transform and build a really vibrant healthcare system for the future. And I fully support the drive to build up Ottawa across all sectors. We need each and every one of these to truly make this city one of the most admired capitals across the world. Thanks for your time this morning.
I love hearing about that project. There's something about it as a resident of the city that is very inspiring, but also as someone who works with a lot of the technology companies that are really excited to hear about that investment in our community in health tech in particular. I think it's a really, really exciting time and tie into the business community. And that leads very nicely into the next person I'm going to ask to speak to us. And I'm pleased to introduce Kevin, who's going to speak on behalf of the entire technology sector, because why wouldn't we ask him to do that?
The entire technology sector is standing in front of you right now. I know you thought I'd be taller. I know you thought I'd have hair. But when they asked me to do that, believe me, those words were not lost on me. I need you to speak on behalf of the entire technology sector in Ottawa. To Megan's point, we could probably fill a room of the entire technology sector leaders in Ottawa. So I'm very proud to be part of that. I'm proud to see colleagues, Michael Curran, all the folks that are here today, to actually listen to what the heck I have to say. So that's fantastic. My assistant Desiree is here just to make sure I don't say anything totally untoward. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and to our mayor and councillor candidates. This is the first time I've actually spoken to this type of audience. As a publicly traded company, I'm normally talking to investors and telling them why they should invest in Calian. Today, it's a different story. Today, it's a different story with regard to why we should invest in Ottawa. I've been asked to represent the voice of the tech business industry, and for my introductory comments, I would like to set the stage from our perspective before we get to panel questions. First and foremost, I think we can all agree that the tech business sector is a critical growing pillar of our local economy. Today we have companies headquartered in Ottawa that lead the world in areas such as e-commerce, supply chain optimization, satellite communications, 5G and network communications, healthcare, event broadcasting with my good friend Dave Ross, cyber, autonomous vehicle development, artificial intelligence, and numerous other sectors and industries. We compete on a global stage. We compete for customers. We compete for talent, and we compete for capital to fund our innovation and growth. And right now, we're dealing with numerous headwinds. Cameron mentioned it. I've been working with Cameron and watching all the crazy good work that the Ottawa Hospital has done during the pandemic. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Rising global conflict. I was in NATO. I was visiting with NATO in Norway a month ago because we trained NATO at Callion, talking about the reality of the unsettled world that we live in. The war on talent, supply chain issues, extreme climate events, and for Callion and many of my peers as publicly traded companies, significant downward pressure in technology stocks right now as shareholders demand profitable growth despite these headwinds. For Ottawa and the National Capital Region, and despite these challenges, it continues to be a time of significant opportunity if we can align the many stakeholders in this room. For us to compete, we need to live in a world-class city, a connected city, to not only our region, but to the world. A city that just doesn't talk about the best place to work, live, and play, but has a plan and actions to ensure we are the #1 destination for our most critical resource, that being talent. We must foster, promote, and invest in innovation, research, and provide an environment that fosters collaboration. The competition is not Canada versus Orleans. It's not the Byward Market versus Nepean. Our competition is the world. So with that, I'm looking forward to the panel discussion. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. And once again, he's done my job for me and raised the question that we want our next panelist to speak about, and that's talent. And it's hard to, and it does lead in. Bear with me for a moment. It's hard to imagine an industry in Ottawa that's more tied to talent than that industry that builds the places that talent lives. And that's not just talent for the tech industry, that's our community, that's our talent that works across every industry in Ottawa. So we're yet again asking one of our panelists to wear a very heavy mantle and speak for those that build the places that we live in Ottawa. And I'd love Michelle to come up and really talk about the critical issue around how we're delivering affordable homes, which has been a big issue across Ontario, in Ottawa over the last few years, and I know there's a lot of discussion about it. So I'm going to ask Michelle to talk a little bit about what that industry does.
Hi, everyone. Well, it's great to be here and to see so many current and future political leaders here ready to hear about the key issues from the perspective of the business community. I've had a chance to talk to a bunch of you. There's a lot of hope in this room, and it's very encouraging. So new home construction and renovation industry account for 40,000 jobs a year in Ottawa, $2.5 billion in wages, and $5 billion in economic investment. So we are truly one of the biggest economic engines of Ottawa. And the Ministry of Finance projects that the city is going to grow by over 500,000 people in the next 25 years. So it's worth noting that that's 130,000 more people than what we forecasted when we created our official plan just a few months ago. So we are growing faster than all our forecasts ever could have imagined. And I guess if there's one message that resonates, if you remember anything from anything I've said, it's that we need to work together. We need to be collaborative. None of us can build all these houses to, meet all these residents alone. We can't do it if we're fighting. We really need to work together and, try to make Ottawa the most livable mid-sized city in North America, which is what the goal stated in the official plan is. So there's no doubt that we're in a housing crisis. And the creation of housing is a very critical issue for the next generation of Ottawa residents, those 500,000 people that are coming. We need to build about 10,000 homes a year, every year, and if we want to meet demand and keep supply relatively affordable. Historically, as an industry, we used to build about 6,000, 7,000 homes a year. Last year, we almost built 10,000. That was our biggest year ever. But now we've got rising construction costs, we've got inflation, we've got rising interest rates, we've got fees at City Hall that this year, you know, with the new policies coming down the pipeline, are going to go up. We're estimating between $30,000 and $75,000 per new unit that is constructed, depending on the type of unit and where it is. And on top of that, we've got approvals processes that are getting slower every year. So there's a lot of uncertainty in the industry about whether we're going to be able to keep up with that 10,000 homes a year, but we want to, and we want to work together with all of you to make it possible. And I think it's worth noting that one thing that is especially something that we're really going to need to get together on is infill. So the targets for intensification, which is new houses inside the already built-up area of the city, is 60%, and some political leaders think it should be 100%. And there's some that we can do by turning a detached house into a fourplex, which has its own issues. But really, the heavy lifting is going to come from bigger buildings on the infill part. And you may have heard that some new apartment and condo projects are being canceled right now that were scheduled to go ahead. And City Council has approved tens of thousands of units, but they haven't been built, and they're not getting built at the rate that they need to get built at. The costs are too high for the average home buyer who wants an affordable place to live to be able to afford. And it's not just on government, it's not just on industry. It's a complex, again, why we need to work together. So just to put that into perspective, according to our numbers, last year of those 10,000 units that we sold, only 348 were new apartments and condos. And this year so far, we've only sold 98 in the entire city. So we want to build those apartment buildings. We want to partner with you to achieve that 60% intensification. We want to work with you on affordable housing too, not just market affordability, but capital A, capital H. And we want to make sure that everyone has a place to live. So it's not a simple solution. We have a big challenge, and it's a multifaceted, complex issue. And those 500,000 people are coming, those home buyers, those renters, the kids, the families, everybody, they're going to need the support from the new council. They're going to need the government, the home builders, and the residents to all work together collaboratively to create that affordable range of housing that we're going to need for the growing population. So I'll stop there for now. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. We're starting to see the issues come together, I hope. Our next speaker is going to talk about, to some degree, one of the ways that we move people in and out of our city. And as we all know, of course, the airline industry was under extreme pressure over the last 2.5 years, but there's great things happening, and I'm going to ask Mark to come and talk about it.
So good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here to discuss YOW and its importance for the city, for candidates of mayor and councillor. I'd also like to thank you all for your desire to serve as an elected official. Having been in the municipal world for around 20 years, I fully understand the courage, the commitment that is required, and the challenges that are ahead. So thank you very much. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, YOW served 5.1 million passengers, and we had 45 nonstop destinations, including seasonal. Fast forward 2.5 years, we are rebuilding, and our hope is to hit 2.93 million passengers by the end of 2022. Our air service is also coming back with near full domestic recovery, the return of several U.S. destinations and growing, and a healthy list of sunshine destinations scheduled for this winter. In all, we can say that we are hoping to hit close to 70% recovery, both in passengers and destinations. YOW used to serve London Heathrow and Frankfurt nonstop. We are most anxious to welcome these transatlantic services back. Unfortunately, it is more realistic from the airline's perspective to count that it will be back in 2024. As we have stated before, airlines decide where their aircraft will fly, not airports. From a financial perspective, the pandemic lost us nearly $100 million. We anticipate returning to financial sustainability by the end of 2023 or early 2024, and we are ready to tackle some of the projects we put on hold. Perhaps the most vital of these is the Taxiway Romeo project in our Northfield area. We are building a new taxiway to facilitate development on the airfield, with space earmarked for the federal government and to meet demand from commercial clients requiring airport infrastructure. We will, and I commit to that, be making a major announcement before the end of the year. In July, City Council approved an airport community investment program framework to help stimulate interest through property tax deferrals on new development. Criteria are strict, and every application will be judged for approval on its merit by the City Council. In my opinion, the CIP confirms that the city recognizes the economic importance of its international airport and that it is ready to support our desired goal of creating economic development opportunities. I look forward to presenting the first proposal to our new mayor and council shortly. Recovery is also vital for the local economy. Before the pandemic, YOW was responsible for $2.1 billion in total economic activity, taking into account more than 10,000 full-time employees, 5,000 that work directly on campus, the rest in tourism, hospitality, and retail. We are working hard to get back to that full potential and beyond for the benefit of our community, but we can't do it alone, and it will take some time. With limited resources, airlines are cautious about offering new routes in the current low business travel environment in Canada's capital region. Corporate and government-related travel is our bread and butter for long-haul routes like London and Frankfurt. Unfortunately, business volume remains low compared to 2019, and it's uneven. With Ottawa's largest employer, the federal government, traveling much less, and other business sectors, such as Kevin's, asking for more destinations and higher frequencies. The bottom line is that airlines need business people to return to the skies to complete our recovery. For those of you flying, thank you. More than ever, we need Ottawa-Gatineau air passengers to start and end their trips at YOW. Every traveler who drives to another airport overstates that airport's market demand at our expense. Data fuels airline network planning, and this passenger leakage not only limits the return of our previous air service, it also prevents new nonstop opportunities. We know that flying a short segment before a long one is not always the first choice. But for the sake of our community, nonstop air ambitions, it is the best choice. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Mark. Such an important cornerstone of how we can continue to make sure that our city is the center of a lot of economic activity, and to lead into our final speaker, the very important tourism sector. I think everybody that lives in Ottawa has some sense, no matter where they live, of the importance that we have as the national capital for tourism. I'm going to ask Michael to talk about really what that sector, we could just pretend maybe the last 2.5 years didn't happen, but by all means, we can also go into the stressors that we're in this industry. But if you can talk about the economic importance of the tourism sector to the whole city, and also in terms of how we experience our city as citizens.
Thank you very much, Megan. Appreciate that. And like everyone else, I thank all the candidates for choosing to run, making that sacrifice with your lives, but also, being here today with us this morning to hear what the business community has to say. It's great. And when we talk about tourism, I want you to think about it a little bit differently today, if you can. Think about tourism as being the front door to our region's economy, or sometimes we call it the first date for economic development. Because oftentimes people will come here as visitors first, impacting on our visitor economy, and then they may decide to become repeat visitors, students, investors, entrepreneurs in the city, or new residents. A place that is intriguing to visit is also a place that is ripe for business opportunities, talent attraction, and a place that people want to live and play as well. So think of my co-panelists on here who are busy attracting talent to their sectors. Often that's talent that hails from elsewhere. A trip to Ottawa may very well have been that job seeker's first impression of our community. And a great trip experience could well lead that person to their interest in entertaining a job offer from the Ottawa Hospital or from a home builder, or that other job that needs filling today. And as Megan said, we won't necessarily talk about the impacts of the pandemic, but let me tell you what tourism means to this community. In pre-pandemic, our industry was booming in this community. 11 million visitors a year came to our city. That's about 40,000 visitors a day in Ottawa in a normal year. $2.2 billion in visitor spending, and that's an economic injection of $6 million a day supporting businesses and workers in our community. I'll steal Cameron's line because I have it actually written in my notes here. 43,000 of our friends, family, and neighbors in every single ward in this city are employed in the tourism sector. An estimated tax revenue from the visitor economy was $755 million, and that's tax revenues that go to all three levels of government from people who live outside of our city and are choosing to come here, purchase goods and services from Ottawa businesses, and while they're visiting here. So those taxes pay for the amenities and the services that we residents are also contributing to, meaning that tourism is reducing all of our tax burdens in this community by about $750 per person per year. So let me say that again. Visitors are contributing $750 million in taxes alone to this region, to the benefit of all of us, and then they leave. So they have been here paying for our services in this community and then not using those services and leaving them here for us to use, which is a fantastic economic contribution on its own. So these are super consumers and super tax generators, and we need more of them in this community. Now let's go back to the job side of things. You may not be aware that tourism is one of the top contributors to Ottawa's economy, along with government-regulated sectors like healthcare, of course, and high tech. And that's why when the pandemic devastated our tourism industry, the job losses that resulted were truly a hit to our whole city. And in fact, I think it may have surprised some Ottawa businesses to know that they were in fact part of the tourism sector, that they didn't know that they were. And when the visitor economy all but goes away, as we saw in the past couple of years, many businesses discovered that they were in fact very dependent on visitors, maybe more than they thought at first glance. And when you think you take away those 11 million people per year, or most of them at least, some businesses probably couldn't survive if they were just depending on locals. You know, tourism, the word tourism has a very broad reach. When you think of that word tourism, it has the connotation of leisure travel and that summer vacation. And of course, it is that, but the reality is that tourism encompasses much, much more than that. It includes group travel, meetings and conventions. I mean, this building that we're in today, major events, sporting events, large festivals, and more. So even if your friends and family visit you in Ottawa this fall, that's a great contribution to the rebuilding of our tourism economy. And so I know I've thrown a lot of numbers at you, and it's barely even 9 a.m. yet, probably not even 9 a.m. yet, no. But ultimately, the important point of this is that of tourism is to have experiences in this city that show how appealing and fun our community is, and in doing so, to attract people from elsewhere to enjoy them alongside our local population. And this in turn brings outside of the community dollars into our city, enables locals to find those good jobs and purpose, and it's something that communities can also decide collectively that we want to grow and support an industry like tourism. It's an asset to Ottawa that we as Ottawans can collectively decide to generate more of this type of economic activity. And that's a pretty good deal for the citizens of Ottawa as well, because it generates an ecosystem in which a shared community experience is supported by those visitors. in which smart, civic-minded entrepreneurship is rewarded and where the community also sees those dividends of that economic activity. And the overall quality of life in our community is raised with each moment of that shared fun that we can have in this community from a tourism experience. So thank you very much, and I'll look forward to the next panel questions. Thanks.
Okay, so we've had our sort of introduction to place each of our panelists. We're going to dig a little bit further into some of these issues now. So, Cameron, you've described one of the most high-impact projects that Ottawa is going to see in the coming decade? Century. You know, and that's one of our, fits into one of our 5 priorities as the Board of Trade, which is promoting growth through these high-impact projects. And so I'm wondering if you can tie in your project with some of the other potentially high-impact projects that are going on in Ottawa, and the importance of these projects sort of fitting together. And then I'll throw another question at you to build into that, which is how can our next municipal government help make this project come off as successfully as we all want it to?
It's on? Oh, perfect. Okay, so there's one aspect to healthcare that's quite different than many other industries, which is you can't control demand. The rate and pace of how people get ill and how they get injured is a factor that healthcare continues to struggle with globally. And so when you look at our healthcare system, let's go with Ontario and definitely in Ottawa, our biggest issue right now is access and capacity. And where this starts to link with all other sectors is as we think about building both the new hospital, but more importantly, building a stronger healthcare system, what you need at the same time is all those industries that are associated with it to grow at the same pace. And while you would think the public sector is not competitive, it is hugely competitive. And so if you take a look at things like labor markets, and let's stick with nurses and physicians for a second, there is not a hospital on the planet that is not actively trying to recruit people. And there are 2 reasons why people come to Ottawa. And let's take some of our highly skilled surgeons as an example. We've recruited dozens over the last decade from UK, Asia, Australia, all through the US. And these are world-class leaders. And there are only 2 reasons why they're coming to Ottawa. One is they want to come because we have the infrastructure to allow them to practice their area of expertise and do their research. Building the new civic gives huge opportunity to recruit more of these people. But there's another reason that they come to Ottawa, and it's a predominant reason why we lose many people or we have people arrive. Most of them have families, and there are 4 things that they're interested in. One is, what are we like from an arts and entertainment perspective? What are we like from sports and rec? What's your education system like? And what's the opportunity with the rest of your healthcare system? We don't build those 3 and 4 sectors up in a parallel way to the growth that we just heard from Michelle, we will lose people within the healthcare system. That's one level of competition. The other is obviously financially. If you look in across Ontario, considering we're funded predominantly by the province, but we do get funding from the feds for research and other things, it is hugely competitive. Windsor, Hamilton, London, Sudbury, Thunder Bay, Toronto for sure, Kingston, all of them are in the same situation with like us, and all of them are actively trying to grow their infrastructure. And so where we have a huge opportunity is because we have the new hospital and we've got that support. The need to rally around it to build it that allows us to bring people in, grow those other sectors which are critical to recruit people across the globe is an opportunity like none other. But I will tell you that if we delay and if we don't get on with this, those other communities will be happy to take our money. No question. Same thing with research, which is a federal competition. Vancouver, Winnipeg, Alberta, the East, all of them are vying for the same dollars. And so part of this is how do we put a really strong foot forward to continue to build that infrastructure? Because the one thing for sure is if we don't build it, the number of people that are getting sick will not stop getting sick. And so we have to build that infrastructure.
Great, thank you. So Mark, I'm going to go to you to build on this idea of high impact projects and how some of them kind of intersect with each other, and most importantly, the economic health of Ottawa. So how does the development and the continued success of the Ottawa Airport fit into these projects, some of which we haven't yet talked about, very importantly LRT, of course. And what does the airport need from our next municipal government to really see success?
So let's start off with the LRT. The airport just completed the construction of the LRT station, so it is ready. It's the only thing that's missing right now is the LRT to serve the airport. So the city's continuing Trillium line, and they will be connecting in next year sometimes. But our part is done, and I'm happy to have done it. It connects right into the terminal. On major projects, like I've indicated, I've committed to announce a major project at the airport.
I think your mic's off, Mark. Maybe, Michelle, do you want to? Oh,
Here we go. I'm sorry.
We're good.
So, it's funny, Michael's sitting next to me, and we started working on this strategic project when Michael was working with me 10 years ago. And it was halted at the pandemic, and we got it back on track, if we can put it that way. At the airport, we took the long view on serving the community, and that is to ensure that we have competitive airlines working for the benefit of Ottawa, not just for their benefit. So we went all in with this project. It will be announced. You'll start seeing probably results in the years to come because of this project. So it'll be announced before Christmas. It is a game changer. We're stuck between two hubs. We are part of a very competitive sector. So we're going to have to change the game a bit in order to be able to offer more destinations and connections in the long term. And I hear the tech sector every month, Suling, Kevin, they phone me and say, we want more connected, we want more connections, and I know that importance. It is absolutely important. And so what I'm happy is to see that the city has stepped up and has viewed the airport as an enabler, and we're working together because airlines are expecting a different reaction by the city, not just by the airport providing a good asset. They want the city to get involved to support the risk that they're taking when they launch a new route. So we'll continue to work with the city to get these new routes and new connections.
Great. All right, let's go on to one of our other most important priorities. They're all important. We narrowed down to 5 from about 20, by the way, so we tried to give you some very succinct 5 priorities. Is, of course, building more homes, as we've chatted about with you already, Michelle. But looking at the big picture, what resources are really missing in the industry right now that we need to get to that 10,000 or more a year and to ensure affordability?
Is this working? Oh, yeah, okay. Well, if someone could do something about interest rates, that would be nice. But we want to build great communities, and we're not just building houses. For all these sectors, we need to house all the people that are going to come and work here. And so it's more than just houses. It's attractive, complete, and connected communities, connected to nature, connected to each other. So I would say there's 4 that come to mind. And the first one is partnership. And I said it already probably 5 times, but again, it's key to everything. We have to work together. We need to build trust. We need to build trust between the people building the homes and the people regulating the construction of homes. And we need to get behind a common vision so that we can all work together to that same vision. The second thing is streamlined approvals. And something that would really help get more units to market faster is if we could cut some of the red tape, some of the redundancies in the approvals processes, and just try to get things through a little faster. The third is incentives. And this is just my personal opinion. I think that if we're going to get that infill housing going, if we're going to get all those apartment buildings built downtown, it's probably going to come to a point where we're going to need some incentives, either reducing or waiving fees at certain times in certain areas. I don't know what all the solutions are, but again, we want to work together on that. And then the fourth thing is leadership at City Hall. So, people like the idea of intensification in principle, but then when there's a house on their street is getting torn down and a fourplex is going up, it's a bit of a different story. So we need leadership, political leadership. We need clear rules and fair rules. And in addition to the political leadership, it's leadership in the bureaucracy at City Hall. And there's a bit of a vacuum going on right now. Several of the key leaders have either retired or left. And so it's going to be really important, if we're going to get all these houses built, that the people that replace them are solution-oriented, are experienced, and are willing to work together. And so I guess, above all else, we want to be partners with you. Trust, collaboration, partnership. That's what's going to get us there.
Great, thank you. Super easy question for Kevin. How do we make sure that our technology community continues to thrive, and what can City Hall do? Easy. I'm sure it'll take you 30 seconds.
No problem. First and foremost, I want to comment on, I think we're all moving back to what we call a hybrid working environment. And I can tell you at Callion, we are excited to welcome our team back. Desiree's, we're working on it, we're going to have hybrid. So I think there's always this perception on talent that, oh, don't worry, we can get it anywhere in the world. We don't need to worry about the city infrastructure. We'll just get it and I'll just dial in from wherever. I can tell you there's going to definitely be some of that. And we have resources now in Brazil and Pakistan. We got resources around the world. But we are hearing people want to get back to work. They want to be connected to people again. And we need to create that city. So thank you in advance for all the houses you're about to build for all of the tech industry. From my viewpoint, from a city perspective, number one, I hope everyone appreciates and is proud of all the crazy innovation going on in this city. We are world leaders. We're part of global supply chains. We are part of the fabric of communications. We're part of the fabric of new satellite communications infrastructure, healthcare. So from a councillor and local city perspective, we don't lean heavy on that, but what we need is your support. We need your advocacy on a bunch of different fronts. Number one, there's absolutely, to your point, lots of competition out there for federal funding, strategic innovation funding, the whole kit. We need you to know what we do. We need you to be advocates and passionate about helping us grow and connecting those dots. We're a larger company at Callion. Those small, medium enterprises have no idea of how all this works. Show them how it works. Be their voice. Connect the dots to your member of parliament, your member of provincial parliament. Be their voice. Number two, from my viewpoint, is get the freak out of the way. And what I mean by that is more just, we've got it. We've got it. So taxes, processes, become efficient. One of our pillars of growth at Callion is continuous improvement. We're 40 years old next week in Ottawa. We're celebrating 40 years in Ottawa. But I can tell you, we can still be a lot better. I challenge ourselves, we can be a lot better. Be better. Be efficient. We can't afford inefficiencies in today's environment. We can't. And finally, get to know your leaders. Get to know your companies. Spend time with them. I'm going to big shout out to Jenna. I know she's not here. Jenna, when she was a councillor, she came, she knew Callion, she knew the industry. Look what she did with the whole Canada North area. She was a powerhouse and a voice for us, not now only at local level, now at the federal level. I can call her anytime and say, I've got an issue, and she is going to answer my call. Be there for us. We need your support. We're not going to bug you crazy. I'm going to bug him a bit more crazy, apparently. But to be honest with you, just be there, be an advocate, be available.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, Michael, one of our last priorities that we're hoping you can tie together from the tourism perspective is building small business confidence, which you touched on already, which is how much our small business community was challenged over the last couple years. And so we're talking about supporting, building that confidence through policies, programs, and supports for those businesses. And how does that priority reflect through the tourism industry? And how can our municipal leaders help to support small business and tourism in particular?
Thanks, Megan. Are we on again? It's working now? No? Better, clearer, perfect. Yeah, so no question about it, Michelle. I mean, small business is very much the backbone of the visitor economy in most communities, including right here in Ottawa. And when a visitor comes to our city, they want a local, authentic experience, and that's the experiences that are driven by those local businesses and small businesses, and that could be a locally owned hotel, restaurant, shop, local tourism businesses. Think of things like Haunted Walks, that is original from Ottawa and is now growing across Ontario, or Escape Bicycle Tours. These are small businesses run by entrepreneurs who've invested their life savings sometimes into the tourism sector, and these are also the types of businesses that had the hardest time making it through the pandemic as well. And they need support from our next council and our next mayor as well. So how else can councillors and mayors help make tourism and its interconnected community sectors a priority for you, and share that through your own campaigning, please. Our research shows some really interesting things about Ottawa residents that we think candidates should know about too. First, Ottawa residents are extremely proud of this destination and this community. They don't often show it, but the research shows that Ottawa people are very proud of being from this city. And the second piece is that Ottawa residents also understand the value that tourism and the visitor economy brings to their community. The quality of life experiences and the reduction of that tax burden. Ottawa residents do have a very good understanding of that, which is fantastic. And with you equipped with that information now as future councillors or as future mayor, you've got an opportunity to connect with those people on that level that do understand that impact that it has, and hopefully also to bridge the gap with any of the people who haven't quite made that leap yet to understanding the impact of tourism and the ROI that comes with investing in tourism projects in the community as well. You can also help residents understand their unique position to be part of the recovery of this sector. Through the last couple of years, we've been sharing the notion that all it takes is to invite a couple of people, a couple of your family members to come and visit you in Ottawa, and the huge economic impact that has, supporting about $500 million of visitor spending if everybody just invited 2 people to come and visit them, and supporting about 1,500 full-time jobs. Other things that you can help the community do to recover: help us fill this building. When you think of this building being full of delegates from elsewhere, and the spending that they do to support small businesses in this community, once the convention ends at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, those delegates are going out for dinner, they're going out for a drink, they're spending money in this community supporting all of those small businesses. Another thing that really supports small business is sporting events, and not just talking about professional sports here, community level sports. Excuse me. Community level sports as well. A soccer tournament, a hockey tournament. Bringing those events here has a huge economic impact to our community and supports a lot of small businesses as well. These are just a few examples of ways that City Council can support the recovery of the tourism sector. On the sport side as well, the city has an incredibly important role to play in supporting having the right sport infrastructure in this community that enables the city to host international or national level sporting events as well. So opportunities to partner with organizations like ourselves, but also sport organizations in the community. And the last thing I'll say about that is I certainly urge all candidates to have an understanding of the importance of downtown and the Byward Market for our entire citywide economy. Finding ways to bring vibrancy back to our downtown, our city's brand. Our city's brand is the sum of the experiences that people have in our city and the stories that they tell about their time in our city. And the stories that people are telling right now about their experiences in the Byward Market are not helping our brand. And that is something that we collectively have to be able to do to address the power of our brand and our storytelling in this community. It could be deterring future visitors from coming to see our city when they hear the stories. It could be, even worse, it could be deterring a convention planner from deciding to put their event in this building in 5 years from now. So this is not just an immediate impact, it's also something that we could be feeling for many, many years down the road, and we can't ignore it for sure. So please help us to address what is not only a significant social issue, of course, but also a massive, massive economic issue as well. So thanks, Megan.
Great. I'm going to ask each of our panelists to say, give us a last few thoughts on what council, our new council that we're swearing in 2 months, what advice we want to give them to help support a growth agenda, and to make sure that when we're doing this event 4 years from now, which I'm sure we will, we're talking about significant growth in our city. The one little editorializing I want to do, and I think it's really important for anybody in the room who doesn't own a small business or doesn't regularly support small businesses, and Michael just touched on it, and it was something that was really apparent during the pandemic, is that most small business owners that are in your ward, that are in your community, most of those individuals have put their own personal finances into their businesses. They have personally guaranteed loans. You cannot get a bank loan as a business, a small business, without personally guaranteeing your family's livelihood. And that was something that our small business community in particular really struggled with. And if you're going to come to the municipal table in 2 months from now, that's something that it's really, really important from that small business agenda, that you seek to understand that, you know, businesses aren't the bad people that you're, trying to get to do the right thing all the time, but these are your residents, many of whom their entire family livelihood is on the line for that business. So that's my only editorial comment today. That was restrained, only one. All right. So let's start with you, Cameron, in terms of what's your advice to our council as they get sworn in a couple months from now to make sure we're in the right spot 4 years from now?
This on? Oh, perfect. Okay, so a couple of thoughts. I want to start with a positive thought. We often get wrapped up into finger pointing and debating why something can't happen. And we often forget of the opportunity we have and what we've got as a city as a starting point. So when you look at the things that have been done over the last, let's go with 5 years, and the infrastructure that we have as a community, whether you take the airport, which is critical to the future, or you take all the things that each of these panelists have talked about, what we've done with light rail, and while yes, it's had problems, 20 years from now, when we think about what light rail will do for this city, it's a critical piece of infrastructure. Lansdowne, LeBreton, the library, the hospital, think about all the opportunities that we've built or planned for that can really create a vibrant city. So that's the starting point. 2 comments to think about is the one thing with the pandemic, and while it's been truly challenging, there are so many things that fall under the category of never waste a crisis. And as we come out of it, the opportunity we have to move these things forward and build up Ottawa is, I've been here for 25 years, I've never seen a time where we've had this much opportunity rallied around. The worst thing we can do is debate this for 4 years and not move on anything. This is not about decisions during your term. This is about leadership during your term to build decisions that are going to build us for the future. And so my advice to you is this is not about your ward. It's not about, what the next 2 years looks like. These things are significant components to building this community. And I can only speak to healthcare because that's what I work in. If we don't start moving things and getting these right, I guarantee you we will lose more people from this city. Hands down. We're already feeling it today. And so the catch rate now in this market, while it's a crisis from the point of view of retaining people who can literally work anywhere in the planet starting next Monday and probably make more money as they look around, they want to stay in Ottawa. but they want to stay in Ottawa for the opportunity that exists. So my advice to you is let's get on with getting these things done. Let's not debate them for the next 4 years, and we've got to move because we've got tremendous community support.
Thank you. Kevin?
Great comments, Cameron. I think to me, the words that come to my mind as I think about it, because I'm from Ottawa, I'm a passionate Ottawa fan. As you look at your journey, vibrant, exciting, innovative, connected, healthy, affordable, world leader across all that we do. My only ask is when you wake up in the morning, and I know it's tough, some days, right, politics and all the different things and all the lenses you live under, just ground yourself on the opportunity. Ground yourself on the fact that we are a community that is competing globally. And ground yourself on the fact that everyone here, and plus all of my counterparts in the tech industry, we want to help you. We want to be a partner in that journey. This is not about us and you, it's about us collectively continuing to innovate. So 4 years from now, to your point, we are the global destination for talent.
Awesome. Michelle?
Sure. Okay, well, I would say hope is pretty key for new elected officials to believe in our city and believe that we can achieve all those goals that we put in front of us, and build relationships. So have your door open to everyone, not just, we all kind of operate in circles of people who are like-minded, so try to be open to all the different groups that are around you. And when it comes to the housing sector and the fact that we need to build homes for 500,000 people, I would say we don't have to think, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. We need complete, connected, healthy communities. We don't need to say no until every single thing is perfect. We need good. We need good housing. We need good communities. They don't have to be absolutely perfect in every way, but we want to build together, and we're all going to have to kind of compromise, and we're all going to have to learn, and we're all going to have an open mind, and that includes us, of course, as well. So we want to be partners with you. We hope that can happen. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Mark?
I guess continue with the airport as the city has started working much better with the airport, with the LRT and the CIP. We see that we have started working at common goals for the economic development. I guess the other thing, and that's based on my 20 years of municipal government, don't always follow the group that shouts the loudest. Take time to see and learn about the issues. The business community is not always the one that shouts the loudest. We're busy. we can't always, mobilize and advocate strongly. But take time to meet with us and listen to us, and I think in the long term, everyone benefits.
Wonderful, thank you. Last but not least, at all.
Well, I'll try to bring it full circle and talk a little bit about radical collaboration, if I may, Suling. Because if we all have the opportunity to be successful if we're all supporting one another, including the City of Ottawa. This is not my line. I'm quoting my counterpart from Irving, Texas, Maura Gast, who talks about if we build a place that people want to visit collectively, if we build a place that people want to visit, we're going to build a place that people want to live. And if we build a place that people want to live, we're going to build a place that businesses want to be. And if we build a place that businesses want to be, we're going to build a place that people have to visit to do business with them. And that cycle is just going to continue and continue in this community if we all do it right and do it together. So I think radical collaboration is the key word, or the key words for us moving forward after today too. So thanks, Megan.
Wonderful. Well, thank you to our panelists for their time, and as importantly, thank you to all of you for your time. This is hopefully just the very beginning of a lot of very robust conversation and a committed effort to work together. We're not opposing parties. We are one city, and some of us happen to be business owners and some of us happen to do other things, but we all care about this city, and I think to me, it came across very, very strongly today that all of these things work together. So, turn it over to Su-Ling.
Thank you, Megan. I don't know about all of you, but I feel so excited about the future of our city based on the leadership that we've demonstrated here this morning. And I want to thank all of you for sharing your insights, for the work that you're doing every day, your willingness to collaborate, work together, and to share that vision. So can we have a round of applause for this panel this morning? And Megan Cornell, you are a force. Thank you very much for doing a beautiful job and moderating this conversation that's so important to our city. Now it's all of your turn to stand up for Ottawa and exercise your democratic vote on October the 24th. Please encourage others to do the same and engage in the Build Up Ottawa agenda leading up to and past the election. You can stay connected to us and informed through our buildupottawa.ca microsite and our newsletters. Now is the time to be bold and build up Ottawa as a model of leadership for generations to come and for the future of the world to see. We must seize this opportunity, and I thank you, Cam, for saying that, because I see all kinds of opportunity as well. More than ever, the risk is us not moving on it, so progress over perfection. We must seize this opportunity to create a vision and work together for an affordable, inclusive, and sustainable city. I thank you all for showing up here today, for sharing and shaping our future. Please stay. We've ordered more coffee. We've got the place for another half an hour or so. So I hope you enjoy the rest of our networking and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for being here.